Claude Artifacts promises to turn a plain prompt into a working, shareable app with zero code. And that's exactly what I put to the test across 6 real features. I ran each one through its paces with a running scoreboard, and there's one sharing limit the docs bury that could genuinely wreck a client handoff. Claude Artifacts is built for anyone who wants to skip code entirely and get a working interactive tool out of a plain English prompt. And the real question is whether it actually delivers on that or just sounds good in a demo. Test 1, building interactive web apps. You know what's frustrating? You ask an AI for an app and you get a wall of code, no preview, no way to run it without a dev setup. And now you're back to square one. The job here is simple. Type a prompt, get a working, clickable app in the panel. Not a code block you have to paste somewhere else. I looked at what actually comes back when you prompt Claude Artifacts for a full app, and what you get is a live, rendered app in a side panel right next to the conversation. HTML loads, React is interactive, SVG renders immediately, and it works on every plan including free. The caveat is it's single file HTML or React, so don't expect a multi-page app with a backend. Claude Artifacts takes test 1, and I didn't expect the free plan to be included here, but it is. Every tier gets live app rendering with no deployment needed. That puts Claude Artifacts up 1 to 0, and the barrier between idea and working software is pretty much gone for non-developers. I've spent enough time in Claude AI to know where the sharp edges are before the docs catch up. If any of this has already bitten you, drop it in the comments. Test 2, creating live dashboards and data viz. The objection I hear all the time is that you already tried to get a dashboard out of an AI and got a table. Maybe a static image, definitely nothing you could filter or click through. The job is to take a spreadsheet and land on an interactive KPI dashboard with real chart types. No BI tool, no data team. Watch what happens when you prompt for KPI cards, filters, and chart types. Claude Artifacts embeds chart libraries directly into the HTML and renders the whole thing in the preview panel. Bar charts, line charts, scatter plots, all interactive. The honest caveat is that live data refresh requires MCP connectors, which means the viewer needs their own connector setup. It's not plug and play out of the box. Claude Artifacts wins dashboards too, because it makes data viz accessible without any BI tool or developer, which is kind of wild when you think about what that used to cost in time and headcount. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. That's 2 for Claude Artifacts, 0 for the alternative, and the scoreboard isn't close. Test 3, sharing artifacts with public links. You've built something in the panel and now you need to send it to a client, and the old path is painful. Export the code, find hosting, deploy it, send a URL, and hope it still works when they open it. The job here is to turn a finished artifact into a link anyone can click. No Claude account required on their end. I ran it twice to make sure, hit publish, and Claude Artifacts generates a public URL at Claude AI public iArtifacts that anyone can open and interact with in a browser. No account, no login. The real limit is there's no password, no expiry option, and if you unpublish it, that's permanent. You can't republish the same artifact, which is a genuine gotcha for client-facing work. Claude Artifacts takes sharing too, because a chat output becoming a real deliverable with one click is genuinely useful, even with the access control gaps. That's 3 for Claude Artifacts, and if you need to get an interactive prototype in front of someone fast, this is the fastest path I've found. Test 4, version control and iteration workflow. The day your artifact breaks after a round of edits and you can't get back to the version that worked, you lose everything you built in that session. The question is whether Claude Artifacts lets you step back through versions without starting over, and whether you can pin a specific version to share for feedback without accidentally sending the latest broken draft. So here's what actually happened. Every edit creates a new version, and a selector at the bottom of the artifact lets you step back and compare. So experimentation carries no risk. You can also turn off Always Share Latest to pin one version for client feedback, which is a genuinely useful workflow. Fair caveat though, this is artifact level versioning, not Git. There's no merge, no diff, just stepping back. Claude Artifacts wins version control because chat native iteration with a version selector is enough for most non-developer workflows, even if it's not Git. 4 for Claude Artifacts, and if you're a developer who needs merge and diff, that's the one real gap to know about. Alright, so 4 features down and 2 still ahead, and the next one, live data via MCP connectors, is where Claude Artifacts either becomes a real living tool or stays a one-off output. After that, game development with real-time preview, which decides whether this is actually useful for prototyping or just a party trick. Test 5, live data via MCP connectors. Up to 20 MB of persistent storage per artifact, that's the number Anthropic published, and it's the thing that changes Claude Artifacts from a static output into something that can actually hold state across sessions. The job is whether you can build a KPI dashboard that refreshes with current data every time someone opens it, without rebuilding the whole thing. I went through the official Help Center docs and the April 2026 Live Artifacts release notes. Artifacts can now call an approved MCP connector on page load and refresh with current data without being rebuilt, and persistent storage keeps state across sessions up to 20 asaris megabytes. The catch, and it's a real one, is that persistent storage is only available on paid plans, Pro, Max, Team, and Enterprise, so free users don't get stateful apps. Claude Artifacts takes alive data connectors because turning a one-off output into a tool that refreshes itself on open is a genuinely different category of useful. 5 for Claude Artifacts, and if you need a quick answer on whether this replaces a BI tool for your team, it does, as long as you're on a paid plan. Test 6, game development with real-time preview. Setting up a local dev environment just to playtest a simple browser game is genuinely annoying. Node, a bundler, a localhost port, and you haven't written a line of game logic yet. The job is whether Claude Artifacts can prototype a 2D game or a card game and let you playtest it right in the panel. No setup, no terminal. I didn't expect this to work as well as it did. Claude Artifacts generates Canvas and WebGL Lite code for 2D games, quizzes, card games, and simple platformers, and the artifact panel runs it immediately, so you can playtest as you refine. Real-time preview makes iteration fast because you're clicking through the game while you're still in the conversation. The honest limit is, it's not built for heavy 3D. Claude Artifacts wins game development too, because real-time preview in the panel removes the entire setup cost that normally stops non-coders from prototyping a game at all. 6 for Claude Artifacts across 6 features tested, and if you want to build and share interactive apps without code, this is the clearest path I've found. Claude Artifacts shines hardest in 3 spots. 1. It turns a plain English prompt into a working interactive app with no code, no deployment, no hosting. 2. Public link sharing works for anyone, even without a Claude account, so it's a real deliverable, not just a chat bubble. 3. Live artifacts with MCP connectors refresh with current data on open, turning a one-off output into a living tool. Now, here's where Claude Artifacts falls short. Sharing has real gaps. No password, no expiry on public links, and unpublishing is permanent. You can't republish the same artifact. Persistent storage is gated to paid plans, so free users can't build stateful apps at all. And version control is artifact level only, no merge, no diff, which means developers who need Git workflows will hit a wall fast. If you want to turn ideas into working, shareable apps without code, Claude Artifacts is the pick. 6 features tested, 6 that work, and the only real exceptions are free plan users who need stateful apps and developers who need Git-grade version control. The decisive reason is pretty straightforward. No other path goes from a plain English prompt to a live, shareable, interactive tool this fast. One thing the docs don't make obvious, the 20 MB persistent storage cap is per artifact, and it only kicks in on Pro, Max, Team, or Enterprise. If you're on free and you build a stateful app that needs to remember data across sessions, it silently won't. There's no error. It just resets. And you'd only find out when a user reports their data is gone. Now, Claude Artifacts gets a lot more interesting once you connect it to live data sources. And if you want to understand exactly how that plumbing works, I did a full breakdown called MCP Explained for Beginners. It covers how MCP connectors actually talk to external services, which is the piece that makes live artifacts a genuinely useful team tool instead of just a cool demo.